The Hollow of Whispers. Deep within the suffocating dust of the attic, Silas and Elowen found a trunk that hadn't been opened in 50 years. Inside, nestled between moth-eaten blankets, lay a book that didn't belong in the dark. Its leather cover pulsed with a faint, iridescent shimmer like oil on water. When Elowen brushed the grime away, the title seemed to writhe beneath her touch. The Secrets of the Sunless Ravine. Silas cracked the spine, and the air in the attic turned unnaturally cold. The illustrations inside weren't drawn. They looked like captured shadows. The book told of a place where the earth split open, a ravine so deep the sun had forgotten it existed. As Silas read the first sentence aloud, the words began to vibrate, humming a low, dissonant tone that made their teeth ache. "Look," Silas whispered, his voice trembling. He pointed to a paragraph describing a jagged rock shaped like a screaming face. As he touched the page, the ink didn't stay still. It flowed onto his skin, staining his fingertips in swirling patterns. He tried to pull away, but the book gripped him, the paper feeling less like parchment and more like cold, damp skin. Elowen grabbed Silas's arm to pull him back, but the shimmer exploded into a blinding, oily light. The attic floor seemed to dissolve into a sea of ink. With a sound like a heavy door slamming shut, the siblings were yanked forward. They didn't fall down. They fell in, their bodies stretching and thinning until they were nothing but streaks of gray against the white pages. Silas woke up on a bed of sharp, black shale. The sky above was not a sky at all, but a vast expanse of parchment-colored clouds covered in towering, illegible script. He was at the bottom of the sunless ravine. The walls were made of petrified sentences, and the wind sounded like the frantic turning of 1,000 pages. He was no longer a boy of flesh. He felt thin, flat, and fragile. Elowen was nearby, her silhouette flickering like a candle in a draught. She reached out to touch a nearby tree, but its branches were made of twisted calligraphy that crumbled into charcoal dust at her touch. They were trapped in the narrative, two lost characters in a story that didn't want them to leave. Somewhere in the distance, a heavy, rhythmic thudding began, the sound of a giant heart, or perhaps someone turning a page. Back in the world of light and breath, Alistair and Siobhan searched for their children until their voices went hoarse. Autumn turned to winter, and winter to spring. The police found nothing. The house grew silent and heavy with grief. Every night, Siobhan sat in the kitchen, staring at the empty chairs, while Alistair paced the hallways, listening for footsteps that never came. It was Siobhan who finally returned to the attic, drawn by a shimmering light she couldn't explain. There, in the center of the floor, lay the book. It was open to a page featuring two small charcoal figures huddled at the base of a cliff. Her heart stopped. The figures looked exactly like Silas and Elowen. "Alistair," she screamed. "They're in here. They're in the words." The parents began to read, but the book fought them. The letters blurred and rearranged themselves, forming nonsense words that hurt the eyes. The sentences were convoluted and thorny, wrapping around the mind like barbed wire. Despite the headache and the creeping cold, Alistair and Siobhan refused to stop. They read through the night, their voices merging into a steady, desperate chant as they forced the story toward its end. As Alistair shouted the very last word of the final chapter, the book let out a piercing, paper-thin shriek. The shimmer vanished, replaced by a burst of cold air and the smell of old ink. Suddenly, the floorboards groaned under a new weight. Silas and Elowen tumbled out of the air, coughing up dust and gasping for breath. They were home, but as Silas looked at his hands, he saw a single line of fading text still etched into his skin.